they're just teaching you the law and like sequential evaluation and past relevant work and the grids? Are they, and I guess, just as a practitioner of this area of law, and I think I've been around now for almost 25 years doing Social Security. Um, I meet clients that ask different questions about the ALJs. And is there pressure and different things to like deny or reward and things like that? Or are they just straight teaching you the law?
Welcome to the Evans Disability Podcast. We hope to be your definitive guide through the Social Security Administration landscape. I'm Peter Evans, your host and managing partner at Evans Disability, a law firm that handles disability cases throughout the United States. Before we dive into today's episode, I want to mention a special resource for our listeners. Click the link below to receive a free SSA Disability Guide from Evans Disability. This guide is packed with details on SSA disability programs, expert tips for winning your case, and sample questions from actual disability hearings. Join me as I sit down with special guests, including experienced lawyers, our extremely well-trained staff, and even a former Social Security law judge. If you find our content useful, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to stay updated on our latest discussions. I hope you enjoyed today's episode.
Good morning, Judge Watson. How are you?
I'm very good this morning. How about you, Peter?
I'm very good as well. I am so grateful for your time today. I know how busy you are, and how just kind of transitioning from being an active Social Security administrative law judge, and then feeling super honored that you would give me your time today, and then also come work with our firm. So feeling very honored.
Oh, I feel the same way. It's a delight to be here, and I'm excited about our discussion. I've been looking forward to it, and I hope that what we share today will be of benefit to the listeners.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you and I talk quite a bit, but one of our firm goals is to kind of figure out how do we add more value.
Mm.
How do we add value to our clients, and then and then also as an individual, how do we add value to our team and to the firm? And so just this big question of how do we add value to our clients. But before we kind of jump into all the behind the scenes, I just would love for our audience to hear your story. How did we get point A to here, okay, and professionally, and just sort of have folks hear about your story.
Well, thank you. It's been an interesting road, that's for sure, and really feel just privileged that this has developed the way it has. My life has unfolded in this way. And so for me, I grew up outside of Seattle and went to Western Washington University up in Bellingham, Washington, undergrad. And then went to law school at the University of Oregon. And after I finished there, I went up to Alaska for a year and I worked for a judge. And I think that's probably where I started to get my first ideas. Well, I like what he does. It's very interesting to me. And so working for him and writing for him, is still a very good man. And it was quite an experience working for him and living in Alaska too. And so then I had to decide where I wanted to take the bar exam. And I decided I wanted to take it in Hawaii. So while I was working for him, I studied for the bar and then flew out, took the bar. And then after my clerkship, which is a year, I moved to Hawaii and awaited the results. Fortunately, I passed the bar, which is great. And around that time, I began looking. I always have been drawn to work, just in service, in public service. And so I was looking at various jobs, and one of them was with the Coast Guard. And because I had a certain specialty in the law, I was able to apply for a position and come on and work full time for the Coast Guard as an active duty officer in what they call a direct commission program. So I served in the Coast Guard active duty for, oh gosh, 7 or 8 years. And then the rest of my career was as a part-time member, and that's a reservist. So I continued on with my active duty in the Coast Guard and was assigned in Hawaii. I was in Seattle, and then as a reservist, I was in Portland, uh, Virginia, you name it. I was there. I was lots of different locations where I would serve as a reservist. And then I went on, at that point, one of my assignments was to work with administrative law judges. So I would appear before them as a Coast Guard officer. And they were cases of licensed mariners where there had been, let's just say, some trouble on the sea. And so there's a code of conduct for the licensed mariner. And so we would actually appear before an administrative law judge in these cases representing the Coast Guard. And then there would be the individual licensed mariner. And I thought, wow, that looks like a great job. And so again, the seed was planted.
Mm.
And then I just went on from there to work for a bit after I left active duty. I worked for a bit in private practice and litigation, so appearing in court, writing many motions, that sort of thing. So that was wonderful. It was a wonderful experience, absolutely. And then I became a state administrative law judge, and I served as the state administrative law judge for the state of Oregon for I think it was about 7 or 8 years, and uh, I heard a wide variety of cases. We were what they call a central panel. So we'd hear cases from anything from child support cases to DUI cases to work separation cases, mostly work separation cases, and which actually is very helpful as a federal administrative law judge with Social Security, just because there's a lot about that we cover about past work and what leads to a work separation. And so that was valuable experience. And while I worked for the state, my dream was to be a federal administrative law judge. And I went through the application process, which is pretty lengthy, and an interview process. And I was actually serving a short assignment as a government affairs officer. And I was up in Alaska when I got the news that I secured the job, and I can still remember that moment, walking in Anchorage, Alaska on assignment up there and getting that news. It was just really an incredible day for me, and it continued. I just love that job. It was a great job, and I'm just glad I got to do that in my life, but now I get to do this, and it's as if the arc of service, it continues. It continues, which makes me very happy to be able to support people and guide people.
For our audience, how many years were you a Social Security disability law judge?
About 12 and a half years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you get accepted to be an administrative law judge with the Social Security Administration. And then I assume you go to judges school or something similar to that.
Yes, and this, of course, was pre-pandemic, and I think they may run the program a bit differently now. I don't know. It may even be virtual these days. I was fortunate that it was pre-pandemic, and I was able to be amongst other new judges, which was valuable. And so we spent, I think it was, gosh, maybe at least 2 weeks in Virginia near the headquarters of Social Security and in the headquarters of Social Security. And we had I instructors hand selected, best, I would say probably top-notch ALJs teaching us and about the sequential evaluation process, having mock hearings, and it was wonderful. Of course, over the heads of most of us, because we were all experienced lawyers, you have to be. It's a it's quite a process to become an administrative law judge, and yes, it was a great group of people, but many of us were new to this particular area. I think my strength going in is that I had adjudicate 7 or 8 years as a state administrative law judge in a high volume environment. So I think I felt comfortable hearing cases and creating an environment for people in the hearing setting. And for me, it was learning the body of law, and then other people came in as had been Social Security representatives, so they might be familiar with the law, but not so familiar with sitting, in that position.
Right.
So all of us were learning. All of us were learning, and I think one of the greatest benefits of being there was we were in person and we all stayed near each other or even at the same hotel. And so we were able to just have that experience together and form those friendships where we could reach out if we had questions. And I think that was, the subject matter, of course, was valuable, but I think the camaraderie was the thing that I remember the most.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I haven't heard that perspective. Do you stay in touch with any of those ALJs from
I
before?
I do, and it's a special it's like your buddies from going through whatever it might be, you're from Vietnam or whatever. It's like it was this experience of a major life experience, a big transition for all of us, and so you stay connected. And, and still just even if it's a instant message or, if we are texting, just to be able to check in on people and see how they're doing.
No, that's great. That is when you're there, are they're just teaching you the law and like sequential evaluation and pass relevant work and the grids? Are they, and I guess, just as a practitioner of this area of law, and I think I've been around now for almost 25 years doing Social Security. Um, I meet clients that ask different questions about the ALJs. And is there pressure and different things to like deny or reward and things like that? Or are they just straight teaching you the law?
They're teaching us the law, absolutely, but also we're going through mock hearings, and so we're learning a bit about what could happen during the course of a hearing. Not everybody has a good memory, so back then you would ask, "Let's talk about this job that's 15 years old." And I'm trying to remember what I did 15 years ago. It's very difficult, and so it's having different scenarios because every hearing is different. They're dynamic, and so it's getting us. I feel like they were getting us used to the unpredictability sometimes of a hearing, and it may not be even the parties. It could be, as you know, Peter, especially now that we do things remotely, it could be technology.
Yeah.
Now, to me, that's, when I was, a more seasoned federal administrative law judge, I felt that that was a challenge I anticipated on a hearing day. It just wasn't a hearing day without a little bit of a glitch. And you learn to roll with that and
Right.
still proceed and give someone an opportunity to be heard despite what might be going on with your team's
Right.
system. Yes.
Right. Yeah. I mean, especially, my recollection, and maybe you can confirm this, is that before the pandemic, it was rare to do phone hearings with claimants and judges. Like, I mean, it would happen where, let's say,
Mhm.
a client would have extreme agoraphobia. We could prove that, and just, or difficulty leaving their house for whatever reason. But, and then, some ALJs would allow that phone hearing to take place, but it was not often. And then during the pandemic, it just really switched almost overnight to where let's do phone hearings and then MS Team video hearings. I always say Zoom, but really MS Teams. And then like it just became widely accepted, and it's continued to be accepted by the hearings office. Does that seem about right? They didn't used to do a ton of phone hearings before the.
Not very often. Not very often.